How are y'all doing? I want to take a look at Foodie Beauty's current state right now, and I hope you'll excuse me, I'm getting my notes. I've got a couple of questions that I want to ask my cards today. I'm using the 7th Sphere Lenormand. I'm trying to get a good enough picture of it there. That's going to be from Labyrinthos if you want to check it out. And I'm also going to be using the Wildwood Tarot at some point whenever Spirit indicates that it is a good time to use the Wildwood Tarot. So I'm going to lead with the 7th Sphere Lenormand first. My first question is, why has Foodie Beauty avoided going live or putting out recorded videos for so long? This is pretty darn unusual. People are saying the last time she took this long a break was like 2017 or something like that, like when she was first starting her channel. I wasn't here for that part of her existence on YouTube. So I want to do a portrait spread, a 3x3 card spread, and let's see what happens. I shuffle until Spirit asks me to stop. Ring. Commitment. This is also about a very tight cycle of doing the same thing over and over again without changing anything. There's another card in the Lenormand deck, if you will, that also describes cycles. It's the Stork card. But with the Stork card, there's this idea that gradual changes occur over time. Migration patterns, so to speak. That's not the case here. Very tight patterns of doing the same thing over and over again. Committed. Oop, and I just dropped it. Dropped a commitment, but she can't. She wants to drop this commitment, but she can't. She's not allowed to. She has to stay in the same place. She cannot move. This is like feeling like trapped in a tight box, for instance. Maybe not literally, but figuratively speaking, this is someone who cannot move around very much. She is committed to this. Can also be quite literally seen as an engagement ring. Now, I know that the myth has finally been busted. They are, in fact, not legally married, and they were asking for $5,000 to show the marriage certificate, and we all know they would just print it. What did this came from the top. I was just describing to y'all about stork patterns of migration, also traveling someplace, quite possibly. We've got tree. I'm building the top row, and I'll be sure to take a picture of the cards and show them to you in post, okay? But I'm building the top row. That ring is the central theme. Now I've got tree. Coming after stork, these are long-rooted consequences coming to the surface, and she can't hide from these at all. There's the real possibility that even if she got away to Canada, that they will still extradite her if the charges are serious enough. If it's enough trouble for Canada to extradite her, they don't have to have an extradition treaty with Kuwait in order to send her back over there to deal with the consequences of her actions. So quite possibly, it's not going to be enough. Oh, you know what I just heard? Chickens are coming home to roost no matter where she is in the world. She can't avoid these consequences anymore. It doesn't matter if she's in Canada or someplace else, if she stayed behind in Kuwait. It doesn't matter. The consequences are here to bite her in the ass no matter what. Finally, the consequences are headed her way. Destruction. This is mice. This is slowly eating away at something over time, and this is landing in the future column, but this completes the first row. So cycles of bad behavior that have been rooted in over time, possibly that family tree has taught her quite a bit of this bad behavior, is eating away at who she is, eats away at her freedom, eats away at her mental and emotional stability. This is not something that she can run away from. The consequences are going to be severe no matter where she is in the world, is what I'm getting from that first row. Birds. This is a little bit interesting to me because I'm filling out the second row and birds lands underneath the stork. This is about people talking. Rose Thorn also described this card as reminding her of Twitter, or what it was once, Twitter, okay? But people are talking about this constantly. This is appearing in the past column, though. I'm building up the past column. People have been talking a little bit about where she's been, but as we've seen in just a few weeks, a few days for that matter, people have already moved on to other people. A couple of people I watched have moved on to Rose Blanchard, and I just did a reading on her. Other people have moved on to Anna O'Brien. They've moved on to Alicia Doherty or Doherty or however you say their last name. They've already moved on. All it took was Chantal leaving, and guess what? People are still making their livings. Gorl World didn't depend on Foodie Beauty. She's not the queen of Gorl World that she thought she was. This is eating away at a foundation that, as shaky as this foundation was, it's getting eaten away no matter what. I'm building the second row, and this is going to be the future column, is that her foundation, her security, her comfort is going to be eroded because, once again, she's not safe wherever she is in the world. She's going to get tracked down. It's as if what she and Salah did together is severe enough that Kuwait is going to say, we need to go after these people. In spite of the other things that are going on in the Middle East, this is like, I've got like the debauchery charges are severe enough, like they flaunted the law enough that Kuwait possibly wants to make an example out of these two. It's not just going to be Salah, it's going to quite possibly be Chantal as well. It doesn't matter where she goes, she's not going to be safe. So this is about at home. She learned, this is where she is presently in the moment. She is doing like a rapid cycle of emotions is what I'm getting. There's not enough groundedness in the world to keep her from doing this tight loop of freaking out, trying to calm herself down, but then going back to freaking out once again because something else comes out when it comes to the investigation, when it comes to Gorl World. She feels things slipping away from her. There are consequences coming from one angle that are unavoidable, and Gorl World, her main source of income basically, is slipping away, and they're moving on to other things because, there are a shitload of really interesting lolcows out there. She wasn't the market. She was a small part of this market, okay? If that makes any sense. Building the third and final row, we got Scythe. People talking about this led to the end. People talking about all of what she's done in the past, all the gossip, got its way to the wrong people, if you will. And this is Chantal. This is the end of an era. She can't go back to how things were. Things had to come to a sudden stop, and quite possibly she had to flee. Or, if you want to take this from a certain angle, she wasn't able to flee. With that scythe and that stork being bookends, that could possibly, allegedly indicate that she was not able to leave Kuwait in time. Possibly. I'm not negating anybody who says that she is in Canada. Ultimately, it doesn't matter. Canada can still send her right back to Kuwait if they decide that it's worth their trouble to do so, okay? And if Kuwait is dead set on making her and Salah examples, there's a real good chance that Canada could push her back over there if she isn't there. But I'm just wondering, if this describes migration patterns, I'm wondering if she wasn't able to leave. That would be like profoundly stupid, or she just chose not to. You know what? She didn't want to let the haters win. People told her, go offline. Yeah, I could, but that would mean letting the haters win. There's something about that oppositional defiance disorder, if you want to call that. I call it just being a fucking brat. Excuse me. There's something about that kept her there, allegedly, supposedly. I'm absolutely willing to be proven wrong in this particular case. I, like many other people, have waffled between, she's in Canada, ooh, she might be in Kuwait, but maybe she's in Canada, but she might be in Kuwait. That column, I should say, is quite possibly indicating that she did not make it out of in time, allegedly. I could be wrong, okay? ultimately it doesn't matter. Here comes the bear again. This is interesting because the last time when I did a Foodie Beauty reading last, it was the emergency reading, this was the central theme, and here it comes again, and you saw that I shuffled decently well. Look at that. This is the middle column. She's freaking out about this. These are consequences that are going to chase her. They've been growing for a long time. And you know what I was thinking just the other day? That from the point that she started going over to Kuwait, like filming airports, I didn't know that was illegal to film airports, at least in the Kuwaiti Doha airport. I didn't know that that was illegal, but in fact it is. And from the beginning, she's been doing illegal stuff. Shit-talking people on very public platforms, filming oil fields, doing debaucherous stuff, if that's even a word, filming debauchery. Also, Salah is part of that as well, but I do believe that she's been filming like food fetish content or feeder fetish content for at least a few subscribers while she was in Kuwait, and I'm getting that there's like an external hard drive or a hard drive somewhere in Kuwait, around the fart box, if you want to call it that has these videos. And I don't know that she's intelligent enough to completely wipe those hard drives either. You know that just putting things in the trash on your computer doesn't get rid of everything entirely. You need to know some stuff in order to completely wipe it. And I don't know that she's intelligent enough to do I don't know that she's in the emotional mindset right now to do the research to do that. Remember that her North Node is in Gemini, which means that's her life's challenge, is to do research, to do some digging into some topics that are of interest to her, to develop her intellect, to develop her communication styles. That's her challenge, and she has avoided that. So I don't see her as someone being able to avoid evidence of her lecherous behavior being pulled up by the Kuwaiti government. I do feel like there's a hard drive somewhere that's going to be of some importance later on that both Chantal and Salah miss in their angst, in their urgency, in their deep desire to just get away from the situation and forget about it. They don't get to. This is a cycle that has repeated over and over in just tighter and tighter circles, and now they are chained to it. You can effectively see this ring as a kind of manacle, so to speak. These are consequences that have been growing now for almost 3 years, and now they have a bear to fight. Who wants to fight a bear? Okay? Taking one more from the top, we've got dog. And I seem to remember getting this in the other reading too, that they're going to be forced to obey these consequences, and that's kind of an ominous row in my particular my opinion, especially with this scythe. They're going to have to obey this sudden end of an era, cutting something off. They're not going to behave like consequences are going to be severe. There's the possibility of death for Chantal. Perhaps not at the hands of the Kuwaiti government. A while back I did a reading. It was a reading that I kind of stumbled over because it was my first time predicting somebody's death. But back in late 2022, and I edited a comment in early 2023, I saw Salah running the risk of harming Chantal to the point of death. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen, but it was something that stood out in my particular cards. Remember that honor killings are absolutely still a thing in those cultures. And unfortunately, you can see how that sometimes hops on over to the United States. If a woman steps out of line in a particular way, sometimes the male relatives of her in her family will do away with her. There's the risk that Salah could overreact to something and cause Chantal to possibly lose her life. That's still very much up in the air. This is not set in stone. No reading is set in stone, because as soon as someone makes a choice to go in a different direction, the energy of the reading changes, okay? There's still the possibility that she won't pass away at Salah's hands, but when he gets desperate, I'm getting from Spirit that he will overreact. And remember that it's just a misdemeanor to murder a female member of the family. At least the last I checked in Kuwait, okay? And I'll see in post-production whether that's correct or not. In any case, they're going to be forced to obey whatever it is the law has in store for them, and it's going to end a lot of stuff for them. For Chantal, this is going to be a narcissistic injury the likes of which she has never felt even remotely before. She thought she went through humiliating things when she was younger. This is going to dwarf all of those experiences. This is going to be absolutely massive. There's the chance that she might never come back online again. I'm getting from Spirit that she will, but in humiliation. She's not going, I'm wondering if she won't just do private live streams for just her beezers, if you will. Those are still going to get leaked, but I don't know that she's ever going to have this exchange with Gorl World again, where she does something for Gorl World at large, leaves up the video or the live stream for a certain amount of time, and then deletes. I don't know that that dynamic is ever going to be there again, because she's just going to have it's a narcissistic humiliation the size of which she has never felt before. She's, for the first time, shutting up about this because she's terrified of the future. She knows she can't avoid this. This is going to erode everything that she has tried to build when it comes to romantic partnerships, when it comes to her platform on YouTube or wherever she may choose to move. This all gets eroded, and she's going to have no choice but just to go with the flow. No choice at all. She is figuratively imprisoned, and I wonder if she didn't make it out of Kuwait. I am absolutely willing to be proven wrong there, but I keep getting the idea that she got stuck in Kuwait, and that she desperately wants, she's been sending her energy, I just want to go home. I just want to go home. I looked at the chart around the time that she discovered that Pause Kuwait was sending her stuff, what she did to investigation with the Kuwaiti government. And I noticed that the moon was transiting through Cancer at the time. I want to go home is literally what that says. I want to go home. I want to go home. I don't know that she got to that point. I don't know that she could afford to get there. I don't know that she had the support in Canada to get her there. And I don't know that she's contacted a lawyer either. So she's just shutting up and staying frozen at this particular time. Salah, I feel like, is hopping between different friends' couches. He's trying to avoid being around Chantal, when the law finally comes through. I feel like he's trying to not be in the area as much as possible. There's even the possibility that he could be illegally staying at some of the campsites around the area. Literally trying to avoid her as much as possible. I don't know that they are in contact with each other, but everything is just fraught with tension and emotional. They can't talk logically with each other. They're just in a deeply emotionally freaked out place. This is not the energy of someone who has safely landed in Canada, is greened out, hanging out with family, because other people pointed out, why hasn't Chantal gone live and saying, I miss my little family back in Kuwait. I sure wish I could be there. This is not the behavior of someone who feels safe. And even if she thought that she might be extradited, she might shut up then. But this is not the behavior of someone who feels like, and now I can be myself again. Okay, I'm going to take a picture of the card so that y'all can see it in post-production, and then I'm going to reset everything. I'm going to come back with my 2 other questions, okay? So next, I'm using the Wildwood Tarot to help me describe her current emotional state right now as I'm doing this reading on June 14th here. Let me see. No. There we go. 3:30, you can't really see. Yeah, I don't know why I'm showing this to you. I'm sorry. It's Saturday 14th, June 14th, as I'm filming this at 3:30 in the afternoon, Central Standard Time. What is her current emotional state right now? There are no reversals with this particular deck where something just flipped out. Page of Arrows. This is also known as the Page of Swords, and this is the wren. Very, very tiny little bird, and it's also appearing just as winter is giving way to spring. But this, when you think about the Page of Swords, this is someone who has their eyes over their shoulder at all time. They're watching their back. So she does not, as we saw described earlier, she does not feel safe or secure. And that was a card that flipped out as I was shuffling, okay? Ace of Stones. The foundation of life, also known as the Ace of Pentacles. Definitely looking towards new ways of creating cash, as you might imagine. This is interesting. I have the Ten of Vessels, and I said there are no reversals when I'm dealing with it, but I'm going to take this as it is. This is the Ten of Cups. Happiness. It's in reverse. Deeply unhappy. Little mythical family falling apart. And it's like she's not getting any support back home. It's like her family's saying, you dug this particular trench. We told you not to go back. We told you this was a bad situation, and you went back anyways. Don't ask us to bail you out. And it looks like it's just super expensive right now for her or anyone in her family to buy a ticket is what I'm getting from this. But this is about not having family support abroad or in Kuwait. Wherever she may be, she does not have family support. So desperately, she's trying to find something that will give her a financial foundation. But as we saw, like, she shut down her cameos. She's not filming anything for, publicly facing. She might be sending stuff like feeder content, but I also feel like she's in such an emotional state that she can't get into feeder content. I do feel like she is absolutely stuffing her face at every point that she can get. Like just emotional eating, but she's not filming feeder content for people who might want that, okay? So there are the cards. Once again, normally I don't put reversals into the Wildwood Tarot, but if something comes out reversed, I'm taking it that way, okay? In a state of deep unrest with the wren, that's a little bird that flits around places to places, from branch to branch. This is someone who is deeply emotionally unsettled. And also, arrows and swords are about describe the mental state. This is someone who's very small-minded, you might say. This is someone who is in a deep state of mental distress. Can't think straight, can't think too far into what could happen into the future, because it feels like she flips out so hard and eats more than ever. But eating right now doesn't calm her down, because she's starting to see how her savings is dwindling. I do feel like she put some money aside away from Salah's feud, and I feel like she's burning through that as fast as she can, or not as she can, but she's burning through it because she just eats it. Got the King of Vessels, the Heron. I feel like this is Salah's dad. Another bird, but from a different suite altogether. The King of Cups, if you will. There's someone who is coming to speak to her. And it's interesting, I'm not the only one that's pulling that up. I feel like Salah's dad is going to come to speak to her. Sunburst Tarot said this. Neo Tarot said this. So mark it there, I guess. Take note. It's like Salah's dad is coming to Chantal to make a particular kind of offer. If you turn yourself over to the Kuwaiti police, I will try my best to make things easier for you. But your decision to do all of this together with my son and to run away from whatever it is, whether she's in Canada or Kuwait, is hurting my son. And he's going to do stuff to protect a family member. And even if that means that he encourages her to turn herself into the police, that's a possibility. And I don't know that she sees this coming. Again, she's looking over her shoulder at the wrong things. She's looking at the police coming, knocking to her door. She's not looking necessarily towards Salah's dad coming her way. That's interesting. Taking from the top, we've got the Great Bear, or the Judgment card at this particular place. This bear is indicating that she needs to go into a place of deep meditation, or you can see this as imprisonment, indicating a place where she is not comfortable. I'm wondering if Salah's dad is not going to encourage her to accept some imprisonment time in exchange for her getting to get off a little bit more lightly, that he was going to talk to the authorities about how, like FFG said, my son, he is not mentally acute. He does not have, like Neo Tarot has described, that Salah has a bit of a cognitive delay. And I wonder if Salah's dad is not going to spin things in such a way that it makes things more soft for Salah, but it means that Foodie Beauty needs to submit. Again, we've got that bear, once again, needs to submit to the law and accept some imprisonment time until the investigation is over, until she has been considered to serve her time. I'm wondering if that's not going to happen here. This is something where she would absolutely chafe at the idea of being sent to prison, especially in a Kuwaiti prison. I'm getting that Canada would not imprison her, that in fact, if she is in Canada, and I'm starting to have my doubts, I'm wondering if Canada wouldn't extradite her. For real. I'm wondering if Salah's dad wouldn't talk to just her, but to the Canadian government, in addition to the Kuwaiti government. I don't know the full situation. This is still absolutely not set in stone. The energy around the situation is very much up in the air at this particular point. There's a lot of possibilities that could happen, and when people make choices, that's when things become set in stone. But because there is so much confusion and emotional angst at this particular point with everybody involved, there are a number of choices that could be made that could all lead to like butterfly effect kind of events. Okay? I hope that makes sense. Somebody's celebrating deep, deep ecstasy. She's not coming back here yet. Oh, you can deal with that over there, cutie. Let us know how it goes. She does not have support at home. They're tired of being used by her. Used and then thrown away. This is the energy of, don't let the door hit you on your way out, bitch. People are celebrating her not being around them. You know that line in Fiddler on the Roof when the rabbi says, "May God bless and keep the Tsar far away from us." It's kind of that sensation. May God bless and keep Chantal far away from us. Whoa, she's not here. Oh, God, man, when somebody makes their bed and they have to lay in it, good grief. And I wonder if that isn't tying in again to why Chantal isn't going live or isn't putting out any recorded video right now. She is facing humiliation on top of humiliation. And It's letting the haters win at this point to go online, to release recorded content, because it would be giving them confirmation that indeed she is like triply, doubly, quadruply fucked. It doesn't matter, again, where in the world she is. These consequences are headed towards her fast. We've got the Seven of Bows, clearance, moving things out of the way that no longer serve us. This is a picture of old bows being burnt and new bows being hewn, if you want to use an old-fashioned word, prepared for firing arrows. Salah's dad is saying, let's end this. Let's clear out an old era. You submit to the law, little page of arrows. Little no-thinker, kind of like just a very, very small-minded individual. Cannot think past her own nose, so to speak. This is someone who says, I'm ending this. No more. Now, what I do see in Foodie Beauty's natal chart is that she has Saturn in Scorpio. This is the energy of someone that you do not want to fuck with. This is that watery energy. Saturn in Scorpio literally means dad figures in her life who force her to fundamentally transform herself, whether she likes it or not. Now, I don't remember off the top of my head what the King of Cups is associated with when it comes to astrological signs. I'll put it in post. But there's a real possibility that there is that Scorpio-ish energy of, you fucked around with my family members and now I am coming for your ass kind of way. We're burning everything to the ground. Everything that doesn't serve gets moved to the side. And we're bringing in new ways of doing things because you, Salah and Chantal, have royally fucked everything up for us, our family. Don't fuck with this King of Vessels. I fucking knew when I pulled out the Wildwood Tarot that this card was going to come out. This is the Devil card, the Guardian. This particular enormous skeleton is guarding the entrance to something deep. But first of all, the querent, or in this case Chantal, needs to be brave enough to realize that it is just a skeleton and that she can move past it. Because she shows up as the Page of Arrows, I don't know that she has the mental capacity to get past her own fears in such a way. Get past her own fears of being imprisoned, of facing the consequences, and of being forced to reckon with something that has been set in stone as soon as she started filming illegal behavior at the beginning of her visiting Kuwait, right? If she can move past that, then she might be able to come into a better spiritual place. That's also what this card is about. But I feel like she's just going to see this as imprisonment. I'm seeing her like crying, kind of like what Neo Tarot says. She is just too much of a little kid. She's not called Chantal for nothing. She's too much of a little kid to get past this being natural consequences for her own behavior. And honestly, her family has not supported her. When she was little, they did not support her in helping her learn, hey, when you break a plate, it's broken. You can apologize to the plate, but that does not put the plate, the ceramic plate or the glass plate, back together, okay? She never learned that lesson. And so, as an adult, I'm getting that she's in I got mad frenzy. Emotional frenzy at this particular point, at the prospect of being forced to not just face the consequences, but possibly be physically imprisoned or placed under house arrest. I don't know how things work in Kuwait. I don't know what's going to happen next with her particular case. All I see is that she cannot escape the consequences, and I wonder if Salah's dad is not going to go retrieve her if indeed she is in Canada. I'm going to cut you a deal, but Canada's going to extradite you because the Kuwaiti government has put up enough of a case that Canada says, that's worth our trouble. We'll do that. Here you go. Take your fat cunt back. Pardon my French. There's the Hermit, the hooded man. Solitary confinement, whether of your own choice or not. This is coming alongside the Seven of Bows, the Guardian. She's going to be forced to watch all her efforts being burnt away. Efforts at being something important on YouTube, somebody on YouTube being famous, carving out a life of ease and being able to just bees whenever she wants. She's going to watch all of that being carved and swept away, burnt away. And people are going to celebrate. You can't get out. Ha 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 is what I'm getting from this particular row. She knows that going online is going to help people confirm that indeed she's in a bad state, in a bad way, that she's in a dead flat panic, and it's also going to confirm to people that she has serious consequences headed her way. Middle Eastern governments and their laws are not to be disrespected. And if someone does disrespect them, they do so at their peril. I seem to remember her lecturing another YouTuber who got caught in the Philippines about this exact same thing, but didn't take it seriously enough for herself. She's fucking stupid, is what I'm getting from the universe right now. She is so fucking stupid that she can't see past her need to defy authority. She can't get away from that. She can't get away from that within herself, but she also can't get away from the consequences. When they finally come around to bite her, it is going to be so fucking massive that honestly, I don't know that she'll ever go online in the same way that she has in the past before. I think the humiliation, once again, is just going to be too much. Okay? Those are my cards from the Wildwood Tarot. I've got one more question, and I'm going to wrap up this particular reading. Be right back. So I think y'all are going to like this question. What does she really not want anyone in Gorl World to know right now? We're going to pull out the Lenormand cards once again, and I shuffle until Spirit asks me to stop. We got mice once again. Destruction. She doesn't want people to know that her world is falling apart before her eyes. And the fact that she went on Cameo and I saw how swollen her eyes were, those could be a couple of things. She could be greened out in Canada, right? That could be organ failure. If indeed she is eating like never before, because it's the only way she knows how to comfort herself, and she still can't be comforted, then that's going to continue to progress her diseases more. And guess what? That's also what the mice card symbolizes, is disease. Slowly eating away at the health of something over time. I wonder if she doesn't want people to see how sick she is. Something else that a lot of people and myself saw, that she was very yellow in the one cameo that made it to the surface. That talks to me about liver, right? What is it? Bilirubin count? It's her liver isn't functioning properly if indeed she is so yellow. I'd like to look at Spears indicating her hands, her fingernails. If her fingernails are continuing to show more signs of clubbing, if there's more, she doesn't want people to see how sick she is what I'm saying. And if she were to go online, you know what? I'm also getting that her foot might be in deep pain. Like I'm getting a picture of her foot and her toes being kind of purplish. Kind of like she can't feel that foot or those toes anymore, quite possibly. I feel like if Salah doesn't do things to accelerate her demise, then she is doing the work all by her damn self, dude. I'm wondering if she isn't a bit suicidal at this particular point. And she's just saying, I don't care, I just want to eat. And if it kills me, so what? It doesn't matter anymore. This is someone who is in a deep state of despair. I can't get out of this no matter what. She's mentally, emotionally shutting down. I'm getting like she's behaving just like an animal, in the sense that they eat, they go to the bathroom, so to speak, and they eat and they go to the bathroom, and they just this cycle of doing the same very small number of things over and over again, like what we saw with the ring. Okay? Animus, coming from the top. Someone is co-signing her destruction, and it's not just Salah, it's Salah's dad. Someone is saying, you can't do this to my family. You can't do this to my son. Yes, he fucked up, but you don't get to drag him down with you. Okay? Another bad card next to another bad card. Snake. I'll take a picture of this, but here I'm going to hold it up for you. I'm going to do a 7-card spread, and I think that, frankly, that's quite a bit of information right there. Deception. I don't feel like it's in Salah's dad's bones to lie, to be two-faced, to be deceptive at all. In some rings, the snake is about deep wisdom, but I don't feel like it's that case. I feel like this is Salah hiding who he truly is and lying, possibly to the authorities, and that accelerates her destruction further. He might say some things to get the load off his back that incriminate her further and cause her to be, I'm getting like that prison sentence once again with the Great Bear. It's possible that her prison sentence could be extended because Salah says things that the authorities are like, oh my God, we have to take care of this. This is just too big for us not to take care of this. And if indeed she is in Canada, his lies could be something that accelerate the process of getting her out and into Kuwait to serve whatever punishment they've got in store for her, okay? She cannot avoid this. It is too late for her to change this. In many ways, there are many small choices that need to be made, but the overarching energy of this is that she cannot change the consequences anymore. She's got that manacle, that ring around her neck that she cannot take off because she has done too much. He has done too much, but he's also going to throw the blame onto her. We've got another bad card coming in from the top. Fox. This is Salah. Not the energy of Salah's dad. I really do feel like Salah's dad is a good actor in this particular play. That he was just trying to keep his family safe. And the behavior of these two idiots is what is throwing everything about their family into a state of jeopardy. And he's not going to do that. That's not who this is describing right now. Deceptive, selfish, two-faced. That's not Salah's dad. That's Salah. Deeply selfish, is going to save his own hide and do what it takes to lie, deceive, in order to make that happen. We've got the dog card again. I'm going to do whatever you say. Whatever you say. Yes, that absolutely happened. It's like people are going to line up behind, like his family's going to line up behind him and say, yep, that happened. Yep, that happened, whether it genuinely happened or not. Because they're terrified for their own hides. Their status in the country is not as set in stone as they would like it to believe. And everything about Chantal threw that into a deep state of confusion and jeopardy is what I'm getting. They want to relieve themselves of her as a burden. They want to relieve themselves of a burden, and Salah's going to do whatever it takes. Going to be, yes, I have a cognitive delay. Yes, she misled me into doing everything. Yes, she gave me all kinds of money to do as she bid. I don't have the mental ability to say no, because you kind of see where this is going. Salah's dad is going to get into Salah's ear and is going to say, if you just play your cards just right, we might be able to save ourselves, and I might be able to protect you, son. But you have to play with us. Play our game, so to speak. And Chantal has to be completely out of this. Salah got really comfortable with the money that Chantal was bringing in, and he's going to have to sacrifice the comfort that she brought in order to start to free himself. How many negative cards do you think we're going to get? This is Whip. I know that this popped up in the previous emergency reading that I did earlier. And again, I'm going to take a picture of these cards so that you can see them. But this is like he wants to punish her. Like, even though he went along with this, he's going to genuinely want to punish her, but he's going to make a show of punishing her even harder. Because he wants to show how sorry he is to the Kuwaiti government. He wants to show how sorry he is to his family. And so he's going to show how fully divorced from her, how fully separate he is from her. And I don't just mean like divorce as in like, can you get divorced if you were never legally married? Maybe in their culture. I don't know all the ins and outs of that. But he's going to throw her on the bonfire, so to speak. He is going to absolutely throw her under the bus in order to save his own hide and just be as fully obedient to family and the Kuwaiti government as much as possible, because he does have the ability. There's the risk that he could be deported, and there's the risk that his family, his dad specifically, could be demoted through no fault of dad's. Okay? So, Whip and Anchor, this is a punishment that is going to last and last and last. It's going to be very permanent for Chantal, at least in her mind. She's never going to forget this, okay? And Anchor, it's interesting, lands on the house of the snake. She's going to try to deceive us, and she's deceiving herself right now about how serious this is. To this day, I've been seeing her like post as Sarah Lee 358, that she's continuing to say, I don't like something along the lines of, I'm just being sued, they can't sue me or whatever. She still hasn't gotten it through her skull that this is well past the point of a lawsuit. This is a series, like years of crimes, and she's not gotten it to, like, she doesn't realize how serious this is. Now, this lands on the house of the writer, which is about news coming in quickly that she's not going to be able to avoid. And she's not going to be able to get out of the entanglement of the lies that Salah's going to put out there in order to protect his own hide. Honestly, I kind of thought that we kind of would have expected that. These are people who would have thrown each other under the bus as soon as it was no longer beneficial for them to be connected to each other. Frankly, Chantal is that same way, and she found someone who is willing to behave like she is, right? Natural consequences. Fox lands on the house of the clover. He and she are kind of taking this lightheartedly at this particular point. Like, their selfishness, they're not fully feeling the whole situation. As emotionally upset and frantic as they are right now, as we kind of sussed out earlier, they're still not fully feeling the entire gravity of everything, of how serious that is, because there is stuff that the Kuwaiti government is going to discover that's going to throw it into a whole different level entirely. Again, that hard drive that I was talking about earlier that has stuff stored on it that Chantal is deeply ashamed about, that's going to come to the surface. And there's something else that she really doesn't want Gorl World to know. Y'all were wondering, she speaks her mind all the time. What else could she possibly speak her mind about? And that's it. There's more stuff under the surface that she doesn't want to reach. And when it does, it's going to throw Gorl World into a frenzy. Because it's just going to be batshit insane stuff is what I'm getting. He lands on the house of the ship. This is a journey that he has been taking for a long time. This is a destination of sorts, a culmination of his actions. He's been a romance marriage kind of scammer now for a while. It might have been why his family kind of put him at arm's length. Again, when I did that relationship outcome, for at the time we didn't know that Salah was in the picture. Kuwait was not a word that we had in Gorl World yet. I thought that was about Nader. But when I look back at that reading and it was about Salah, because it talked about a family that was in high places, specifically in education, didn't know that. But his family is in high places. So this is someone who, for a long time, has been accumulating behaviors that lead him to this particular spot. He was identified in that reading that I did back in 2022. I think it was like October 2022. These are consequences for his own actions, and he's still not fully comprehending what all could happen. I'm getting like he has like a certain breadth of knowledge of things that could happen, but I don't think that he grasps how fully, completely serious this is. He doesn't understand completely yet. This lands on the house of the home, or the house. Destruction behind closed doors. Disease running rampant behind closed doors. It's also about filth, right? I feel like Chantal is just living in filth. She has completely let her home and herself go. I feel like Julia is unfortunately trapped with her, and I don't know that Julia is being taken care of at this time. I am praying for Julia's safety. That I'm getting that she hasn't been dumped on the streets yet, but there's a real possibility and risk that she could be. But Chantal has completely let herself go. She's not holding back on anything. She's not cleaning anything. She's not pretending to be like the little dainty housewife anymore, as if she wasn't filthy enough. It's like she has just gone crazy. Excuse me. This lands on the house of the tree. This is deception that has been growing for a while, that has its roots far into the past, because Chantal in many ways has incriminated herself so fully, and because Salah is kind of like erred on the side of caution because it's his culture. Chantal just kind of like freeballing it in a culture she didn't understand. She doesn't get how he can really pile up lies against her to really, really build a case against her. This is also about the family tree also lying to protect Salah. Okay? They're all in on it. They're all playing a game to keep him safe, and they're throwing her under the bus. It's not just him. It's his whole family. This lands on the house of clouds. This is about obeying and just not seeing. I refuse to see. I'm just going to do. I'm not going to think about it. I'm just going to do as I'm told to do. Dogs don't think too much past obedience, and that's literally what's going on here. Obeying selfishness. I'm going to save my own ass. Is in such a state of such a mental fugue, such an emotional frenzy that they can't see past. I'm just going to do this thing. It's frantic behavior. And I know I've already said that a couple of times. Last and not least, we saw that this landed on the House of the Snake. This is deception that is going to land her in serious hot water, and it's going to anchor her more firmly in a place where she doesn't want to be. Again, that would be Kuwait. Canada's not safe. It doesn't matter if she got away from that place or she got away to Canada. And again, I don't feel like she did. If I'm getting a picture of an extremely filthy, tiny apartment on a seaside, then she didn't get away. I'm not saying that absolutely she's not in Canada or anything like that. I don't want to negate anything that anyone feels like is happening because, again, we don't know yet. But I'm just getting from these particular readings that she never made it out of Kuwait. Okay? So I'm going to wrap it up there. I'm going to take a picture of these cards. I'm going to put it up in post-production. And folks, thank you for watching to this particular point. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Take care.